Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to do a quick wrap up of the BookBuddyAthon, which I participated in last week. My buddy was Jackie Kate, and she does not have a YouTube channel, but she is lovely, and I had such a good time buddy reading with her. I feel like I was not the best buddy this week because I'm still in training for my new job, and so I don't have a lot of free time to read during the day. I can only really do my reading in the evening, and my evenings were actually kind of busy this past week unexpectedly, so I had that as well. But my goal for the readathon was to read Burial Rites by Hannah Kent and The Queen of the Night by Alexander Chee, and I accomplished both of those things, and I really enjoyed reading Burial Rites with Jackie because this was such an emotional book. Like, I felt pretty much every emotion under the sun, and it was really interesting to be able to like bounce my frustrations and my sadness off of somebody else and to see how she was feeling and what she was thinking as far as how this was progressing. We read about 60 pages a day, and I actually kept up with it pretty well, which surprised me considering I was kind of trying to read 60 pages of this a day and at least 30 pages of Queen of the Night a day. So I did pretty well with keeping up with both. I was happy with the amount of reading I was able to get done considering how busy my week actually was. But anyways, this book was so fantastic. I ended up giving it 5 stars. I am so happy that Sarai from Sarai Talks Books recommended this to me for my BookTuber Recommends project, because this has been one of my favorite books that I've read this year. And I know that Jackie also really enjoyed reading it, and we had some great conversations about it. And yeah, this one is definitely one that I have not heard a bad thing about, and I now understand why. It's the story of the last woman who was executed in Iceland, and or I guess publicly executed. So you kind of know going in that this is not going to have a happy ending, but I felt like throughout the book I kept like feeling certain things about the character and just the situations that she was going through. I was reading 2 books about 2 women who had terrible, terrible backstories. Like, everything that happened to them was awful, and it was just like, I don't know, that I happened to be reading those 2 books at the same time was a little rough, I would have to say. I mean, they were both really, really good books, so, you know, great, well-written stories about 2 very strong women. So I would say that this is definitely a book that I thought, how does this woman have this much strength to get through this situation? So yes, I would absolutely recommend this one. So like I said, the other book that I was reading was Queen of the Night by Alexander Chee. I want to do a full review, or at least like a book talk. I feel like I don't know how I would do a review of it, but I kind of want to do a book talk about it, because it's one of those books that I'm just like, I want to talk about it. I had really high expectations going into that book because it got amazing praise from Book Riot, and so I was super excited to be like number 1 or 2 on my library hold list to get it. And so when it arrived, I was not ready to read it, but I had to just sort of drop what I was doing and start it so that I wouldn't have to get back on the hold list to get it again. And so I ended up finishing it on Saturday. No, actually I finished it at midnight on Friday, so that I could return it on Saturday because it was due back at the library on Sunday. So it was kind of like a little stressful trying to finish it before I had to return it, which I now am just going to think of every time I think of that book. But basically, it's a story about a woman who is a, you know, famous opera singer in Paris, and how she is suddenly approached by this man who wants her to star in this opera. And when she starts learning about the opera, she comes to find out that it's the story of her life. And it's her trying to figure out who betrayed her, because there are only 4 people that know of her full life story and all of the terrible things that she has gone through throughout her life. And so it's her sort of going to each of those people to try to ascertain which one of them betrayed her. And then it also in doing that, she tells the story of sort of how she became involved with each of those people, and that moves the story forward, so it kind of jumps around in time. Like, there were definitely times when you were kind of like, am I in the past? Am I now? What's happening? So it was a little confusing in that aspect, but it was really good, and it was more a story about just this one person and her history, and I think that if you were an opera fan, you probably would get a little bit more out of this than I did. I am not really a huge fan of opera. I've seen a few and they just don't grab me, and so I didn't really relate to the opera part of this, whereas I have friends who are like super, you know, cry at every opera they go to, who would probably be more attached to the opera part of this, because there is a lot of stuff in there that has to do with opera. But basically it was a good, really well written story. The writing's beautiful, and the story really grabs you in, and you feel for the character. But there were definitely times that I was like, I don't understand your motivation, or I don't understand why you love this man. There were some strange things, but you know, it was enjoyable, and I would recommend it. I think I ended up giving that one 4 stars, but yeah. So basically, those are the 2 books that I read. I didn't touch any of the other ones. I did start reading a little bit more on An Island of Our Own later on in the weekend, so I'm more than halfway through with this. I'm just not sure about this. Like, part of me is like, it's so easy to read and quick to read, and there's only like, I think 80 or 90 pages left. Might as well just finish it. And the other part of me is like, I just want to DNF this because I don't really care. It's a nice children's book, or middle grade. I don't really know what to call this. And I think that like a younger audience would really get into this, because it's kind of like a mystery, and it's cute and it's well written, but at the same time, it's maybe not what I'm in the mood for. I don't know. I'm still struggling to decide whether I'm going to DNF this one. But the other ones, Wolf and White Van, I didn't end up picking up at all. I was going to replace it with The Blue Bath, because I really need to read that book. I got it from NetGalley, and it's already come out, and I have not gotten around to reading that one, and I really, really want to. I just have not had time. And then, I don't even remember what the other book was that I picked up. Oh, The Rest of Us Just Live Here. I obviously didn't pick that one up because I forgot I even had that on my TBR. So yes, I had a great time. Thank you so much, Jackie Kate, for being my buddy. I'm sorry I wasn't as chatty as I could have been. It was a crazy, crazy week. But yes, again, thank you, Elena and Sam, for putting this together. I really enjoyed participating, and I can't wait to participate next time. So, if you participated in the Book Buddy-a-thon, I would love to hear how it went, how your experience was, and yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye!